all these tomatoes here look really good, but when we get down to the end here, you'll notice these tomatoes have twisted, distorted growth. This is what aminopyrrolid damage looks like. It's also called grazon. It's one of the nastiest herbicides. When I came up here and I saw that there was some manure here, I asked the gentleman whose garden this is what he'd used, and he said he used some of the manure pile from his horses. And you can see how twisted these are. What this toxin does is it inhibits the cell stacking function. It actually makes the cells, instead of stacking nicely on top of each other, they start to go sideways and twist and turn, and then you get this nasty, distorted new growth, and it gets very thick, and it's perverse, really. The problem is, you may think that your manure is okay, that you're getting from your own animals out of your own field, but the problem is, if you actually are getting any hay from off your property, the potential for it having been sprayed in the field to control pigweed and blackberries and the other things that they're spraying for can lead to this sort of damage. And this stuff will last in the soil for 2 to 5 years. Here's the offending pile of manure. As you can see, this is actually a sedge that's growing on here, which is a monocot. Grasses are not affected by the aminopyrrolid toxin. And so they can grow fine, and you won't know that there's anything wrong with the manure. You might see a nice stack of grass on it and think, oh, that stuff's really safe. Well, it's not. It's the broadleaf plants that are affected, and some of them are very, very much affected, like beans and tomatoes, eggplants, tobacco, papaya. Some of these plants I've seen really get wrecked very quickly. We've had it happen with cantaloupes to a lesser degree, but the corn doesn't even notice it. So if you have manure available, if somebody says, hey, why don't you take this load of manure off of my hands, you can use it in your gardens, don't do it. The chances that they have bought in hay, or they've even used bedding straw that has been sprayed with this stuff, are very high. Very, very, very high. And anything coming into that farm from outside is potentially contaminated with herbicides that can wreck your garden for a few years. Now, if you come across it and it's actually in your garden beds, like it has gotten into the end of this one, you can remove that offending section of dirt, scrape all the manure out as best as you can, and then take some charcoal, not necessarily the white ashes, but the charcoal or biochar, and even if you crush that up, it's even better, and mix it through just like activated charcoal, and it will absorb some of that toxin and bind it up so it doesn't damage the plants as much. And then I would grow sweet corn for a while, and grass type plants, and then throw a couple of beans in there and see what they look like. Those beans are cheap. Or transplant a couple of tomatoes and see if they start to do this kind of horrible thing. It'll exhibit itself within a couple of weeks. Terrible, because one of the best organic amendments in the world, manure, is now very, very often contaminated with poisons that will destroy your garden for years. Visit me on the web at thesurvivalgardener.com for daily gardening inspiration. Be sure to like, and if you've got any questions, go over there and write me.